What are we, episode 4? Do we have a good title for this?
Pedal bicycling with baby dog. Do you have that on camera?
Yes.
Sweet. Please snip that and send it to me.
This is GRL Raw, the podcast where the GRL team tells you why they're different. Who the hell are they? Why should you want them fighting for you? The industry leader in law with over 180 years of combined experience. This team is here to shed light on crucial topics in law to keep you aware and informed, because it comes back to the primary point: we give a damn.
Welcome to episode 4 of GRL Raw. I am your old host, and today I get to pass the torch of hosting to the hostess, Sydney Donut Ross. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, and you're going to take over the show. You're going to run with the show.
I am.
However, before we do that, the tradition so far has been to explain, well, last episode, Jim did not have a nickname yet. We're still in that process, but you do.
I do.
What is that nickname?
My nickname is Donut.
And
the story behind it starts in middle school. And I went to Waukee Middle School, and every Tuesday they had Donut Tuesday. And they had donuts. They're not really that good, but what else do you have to look forward to in middle school?
Yeah.
And they had chocolate glazed sprinkled donuts.
delicious.
Yes. So one of my good friends, his name's Trevor Allen, we were in science class together in, I think, like 7th or 8th grade. And he started to notice that every Tuesday I would be like hyped for lunch. And I never was hyped for lunch except for on Tuesday. Then he noticed I would run to the lunchroom once people started figuring out that the donuts were like, eh.
You got to get there while they're hot, ahead of everybody.
They weren't hot, but people like would buy them all the time because you just have your little like ID. Parents pay for your school lunch. I didn't actually buy a lunch. I would just get a donut.
Okay.
And so once he noticed that I started running, he would follow me, see where I was running, figured out I was running to get a donut, and started calling me Donut. And it has stuck for the last probably 12 years.
And you had to explain it when you first started working here because your license plate was Donut.
Yes.
So we got a little bit of that insight, but not that full scoop. That's the actual full scoop.
It is.
Of how Sydney became Donut.
And people have been calling me Sid Donut forever.
Well, it's going to have to continue now.
Yeah.
So without further ado, you get to run with today's episode, Sid Donut Ross. So
all right. I think around here we start with updates.
We do.
And we have 4 updates. So we're going to start with one of your updates about a NFG in Bloomfield, Iowa.
Big old Bloomfield.
I was there for a few days.
You got to help.
It was an experience.
Yep. Past the horse-drawn buggies every day on the way to and from.
And the one Casey's.
The one Casey. No, there were 2. Well, yes, one Casey's. And then staying in Centerville, there were 2 Casey's. Every town has a Casey. Guy was accused of sexual assault, sexual abuse, 3rd degree. It was a bad familial dynamic with stepdads and real dads and moms. And thankfully, the jury saw it for what it was. And after 2 years, that case started right before COVID. And we finally got it to the jury beginning of this month. After 2 years, the guy's finally a big NFG.
Yep.
There was a lot of tears and sighs of relief on that one.
And apparently I'm good at picking a jury.
Great. You're going to have to show up to all of them now.
I think so. Our next update is Scott. He settled a personal injury case for the limits recently, within the last month.
Big limits. He took on a case. I think there was a chain that broke, towing. Interesting case. But he stuck it to them. They paid out as much as there was available.
Nice.
So we like it when that happens.
Yeah, that's ideal.
Well, that's the way it should go.
Next update is that recently we had a personal injury settlement after we actually represented a kid on an OWI. Bobby walked him, and then we turned around and sued the driver of the other car.
That was a messed up case from start to finish, but it turned out right at the end. He was charged with OWI. What happened was somebody turned in front of him. He was on a motorcycle, going back home after
Papa
bar
John's.
close with Papa John's pizza. Somebody up in Ames turned in front of him, hit him. He went to the hospital. Law enforcement, they got caught lying.
On body cam footage.
On body cam. It was phenomenal. Always asked for the videos. And so that case got dismissed. And then we were like, by the way, these guys, this person caused the accident, caused their injuries. He was hospitalized. He was hurt. And Corey was able to turn that case around and got a really, really good settlement for him. So we got a double whammy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice kid, too.
Yeah. Super good guy.
Last update is this Sunday, Des Moines had an Ironman, a full Ironman.
The big kahuna.
And there was a GRL tent by the Sculpture Garden Park.
Biggest tent of all time. Took forever to set up.
Shout out Corey.
Shout out Corey for that purchase.
Yep. Me and my dog showed up.
You and your dog showed up. Your family, your mom showed up.
Yep.
Friends showed up. We had a great time. We were there from 4 to midnight, yelling at people, trying to get them through the finish. Nobody died that we know of, so that was a success, and it was great for the city of Des Moines. Ironman's coming back the next few years. They have a half Ironman next year, and then I'm not sure what the schedule is after that, but they're committed to 2025.
And our suggestion is that you make the route so that there's better bars on the route next year, maybe.
If they would listen to us, we would have a much better, much more spectator-friendly.
By the dive bars,
That's
all
right.
the good places.
We'd hit them all. Some of them were actually that we're going to talk about today, were actually on the course that did exist, though. Interesting.
Well, maybe they need to do a better job about advertising to the local dive bar attenders.
They do. So that's a wrap. We got the initial stuff talked about.
Yep.
So we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to talk about what?
Pedal biking with baby dog.
Yeah.
Robert, Bobby, Bobo, Bobby Ray Rehkemper is a mercenary for justice, an extractor of truth, and an avenger of the falsely accused. He is a champion for the underdog and the haunting nightmare to truth-obscuring, shortcut-taking, dishonest foes. Raised on the North Shore of Oahu, Hawaii, Bobby moved to Iowa to endure the harsh Iowa winters and received his bachelor's degree in history and psychology at Coe College. He learned to appreciate the greatness of all that is Iowa while earning his law degree with high honors from Drake University. As a founding member of GRL Law, Bobby knows and understands adversity and the fortitude required to overcome it. He is passionately committed to rectifying wrongs and the tireless pursuit of justice. Bobby enjoys spending time with family and friends outside of the firm and is an avid cyclist and endurance athlete.
Welcome back to GRL Law Raw. We have come up with the official title of this episode, which is Bougie Pedal Biking with Baby Dog.
Was that what we came up with?
It was, but you can still drink if you want. I remember.
I will. Good job. Proud of you.
And Bobby's nickname is actually Baby Dog.
It's not, but apparently it is,
It is.
for today.
It is. So we're going to start off the episode with a do's and don'ts with Donut.
Hold on, before we do that, not to interrupt hostess, but we were supposed to talk about why the bougie part
Sorry.
of the name.
The bougie comes from our bougie tequila that we're drinking.
Cheers.
That Bobby just picked up because I am a tequila connoisseur.
And family came in for graduation, and they are legit tequila people. And I didn't know that there was such thing as sipping tequila. You didn't teach us that. They explained it, we tasted it, and so now apparently that's the new thing, bougie tequila.
I like it. It's good.
It's really good. It's really warming. It's delicious. Nutritious, probably, too.
Probably.
Yeah. Okay, so that's where the bougie in the name comes in.
Yes. And then pedal biking with Baby Dog, Bobby. We're going to talk about pedal biking today. Something I know a lot about.
Perfect.
We're going to start with the do's and don'ts with Donut about biking to get this started because that's what we do best.
We're
right?
We're completely flipping the script on this.
Yes.
So we have a new hostess. Do's and don'ts is leaning in.
Yes.
You're taking over the show.
We're doing a few of them.
Perfect. Run with it. Let's go.
Okay. The first one, title is it legal to ride your bike to a store at 3 a.m. LOL? I know obviously it's legal, but can the police stop you for this? I'm on LSD and cannot talk to a police officer right now. So I think we can break this down to a few different questions within the question.
There's layers, but it's a really good segue into what we're going to talk about.
It is. So first question, since you're the biking expert, can someone get operating while intoxicated on a pedal bike?
The answer is no. Well, no, yes, no, not on a pedal bike.
What's the yes, no, yes, no?
So electric bikes, right? That's something that is coming about, but as long as it is, there's different classes. I did not realize this. There's different classes to these electric bikes. Normally, a motor vehicle is defined as a self-propelled vehicle that doesn't operate on rails. You would think an electric motor would qualify, but there's actually a definition that excludes that for motor vehicle so long as the watt outage or the watt output of the electric motor on the bike does not exceed 750 watts, which is a lot of power on a bike. So the short answer is no. You cannot get an OWI on a pedal bike.
Do you think that if you could get an OWI on a pedal bike, that LSD would be classified as intoxication?
Yes, and maybe we should back up right out of the chute. One should not pedal a bike anywhere while high on LSD.
Absolutely not.
We can, I mean, and let's take it one more level. Don't do drugs, right? So
Yes.
you should not do LSD.
But if you do,
But if you do not ride a bike.
especially not at 3 a.m.
Certainly not at 3 a.m.
Yes.
Yeah. This is good. This
I
is
know.
good. Yes.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Things could go terribly wrong quickly.
Yeah. That curb suddenly becomes a cliff. I can see that yes. Not a good idea. But as far as intoxication, I do think, we talked about this prepping for this, I do think intoxication includes impairment by drugs.
Okay.
Because if you look at the operating while intoxicated law, it says operating while intoxicated. Intoxication is defined as drugs, alcohol combination. I think they would apply that from a legal context to publicly intoxicated. So, drunk on a bike, high on a bike, not OWI, but public intox for sure.
Potentially.
And probably reckless biking, if that's a thing, which maybe we'll get to.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So this Reddit poster is clearly concerned about having contact with a police officer. Can a bike get pulled over?
Yes. 1,000%.
Okay.
In fact, there's a story. If you Google it, there's a story of a Polk County Sheriff's deputy who had enough of pedal bikers not stopping for stop signs
Okay.
on the trail that he sat and started writing tickets to the cyclists as they did not come to a full stop. So absolutely, you can get pulled over on a pedal bike.
Okay. And what are some laws that pedal bikers should be aware of when they're pedal biking around the great state of Iowa?
That's a great question. There's a list. What would we start with? I think the very first one is if you're a lot of places people may not appreciate the fact, because we get this all the time when you're riding a bike on a road on a highway. Get on the sidewalk. There's a lot of cities that outlaw bikes on sidewalks. And so you break the law by riding a bike on a sidewalk. But I think the important part is everybody needs to understand that if a cyclist is on a roadway, they have to comply with the rules of the road. So stop signs, you have to stop. Yield signs, you have to yield. Signaling, you have to signal. You have to act as if you're a car, as if you're a vehicle on the roadway.
So speaking of acting as if you are a car, the average biker cannot bike as fast as a car. Is there laws about minimum speed?
That's a great question. So there's the minimum speed on the law. There's minimum speeds that are posted for interstates primarily, because that's where the speed difference can become so great that motorists can't identify and react to the slow-moving vehicle. On normal highways where so you cannot ride a bicycle on an interstate on what's called a fully controlled access facility, which means it would be a highway that you get on or off via an on-ramp or off-ramp.
Okay.
So 235, you can't ride your bike on that. Highway 30, you can, which is crazy because as I was coming back from court last week, I see this guy going the wrong way on his bike, pulling a burly. That's a whole nother level of crazy. But so you can ride your bike on any highway that is not one of those types of highways.
Okay.
But minimum speed, they don't require you to go at least 10 miles an hour on your pedal bike because there's no posted minimum speed. Although it's kind of interesting, you can't drive a vehicle at a rate that's so slow that it obstructs traffic. If you do, you have to have flashing lights. You have to have warnings to other motorists. Some of those rules do apply to cycling once we started looking, which we can talk about as well.
Do you want to talk about those now?
I do.
Okay,
really
let's do it.
So this, I did not realize this until we started looking. So we had a case last month, 2 months ago, where the cycling community was rightfully upset about everything that happened in the case, although the outcome was absolutely legally required, which was a young lady was riding her bike on a highway, not a fully controlled access facility, so she had every right to be on the highway. Our client didn't see her and ended up hitting her from behind, and she died. Getting ready for that case, I was looking at the Iowa code to see what legal requirements there are of cyclists. And it's not in the actual Iowa code as far as what cyclists have to do for lighting and kind of reflective devices and reflective gear. But in looking just at Des Moines and West Des Moines, if a cyclist is being operated on a highway, if a bicycle is being operated on a highway in those cities, you have to have a red light or a red reflector to the rear. So you have to have something that warns approaching motorists, whether day or night, of your presence, and that helps reflect and makes you more visible in those cities. After sundown, you actually have to have a headlight. So like I brought examples.
You brought a headlight.
I brought examples. We can't do this without props, right?
It is Bobby.
It is Bobby. Bobby Props. That's my new nickname. I'm nicknaming myself. So, one of these little things, you can buy them at Bike World
Oh, that's kind of nifty.
for like $10. Not a whole lot of money, but that would satisfy, right? That it goes on your back down tube, warns people that you're there. Helpful.
Yeah.
You can upgrade to this bad daddy. Oh, and I broke it already. See that? I dropped it. It broke. That makes me sad. But it still works. This thing.
Of course. What if you crash your bike? Got to be durable.
Well, yeah. And this thing will light people up. See that? That's a lot.
That's bright.
The cool thing about this is fancy. If you crash and it tips over, it'll record video before you got whacked. So hopefully you catch whoever whacked you on your bike.
So it's like a pedal biking or like a vehicle black box type thing.
Exactly. And then like a headlight goes on the front of your handlebars. See if I charge this right. No. That's about right. It don't work.
One of them had to not work.
One of them had not to work. Props don't always work. But for at night, you got to have something that shines out in front.
When is night?
Sundown.
Okay.
Yep.
So you said that your client couldn't see the person on the bike. So was this at night?
It was not at night. It was probably what we would call dusk. It was like 7:42.
Okay.
Sundown officially was at 8 something. It was in August. So there was no, other than the red reflector or red light to the rear, there were no other requirements that had to be met. But that also varies city to city, county to county. There's no statewide law about visibility of cyclists, which I think, is interesting. It's just kind of like helmet laws, right?
So bikers need to look at their local ordinances to figure out the requirements.
Absolutely, they should.
And maybe go above that for safety reasons.
Well, there's that old saying, right? Better to be seen than viewed. And that's absolutely true. We got things like little vests, right?
Oh, yeah.
I put this on anytime I'm riding on the roads because, quite frankly, I call it my limits vest. So if I get hit, we're getting the limits. You can't say you didn't see me with this. And the same goes with helmets. There's no requirement that you wear a helmet, but there's no reason not to wear a helmet. And I think one of the, Bontrager has one of the best lines is you only have one brain.
And it's the most important thing you own?
You don't go far without it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So your client, what was he charged with? He
got charged with vehicular homicide. They accused him of texting and driving at the time.
Okay.
He had told officers he looked at his phone right before, didn't see her, but there was no evidence that he had sent a text, received a text, read a text. He simply said, I looked at my phone, which is why the judge had no choice but to throw that one out.
So the judge threw it out?
Chucked it out, yep.
Jury was there, judge threw it out, you didn't have to present anything?
Nope.
Interesting.
Worked out well.
So is texting and driving a subsection of reckless driving?
It is.
And what does reckless mean?
It's like an intentional disregard for the safety of others. I mean, the legal phrase, you remember from taking the bar exam, willful and wanton disregard of the safety of others. It's identifying a dangerous situation and ignoring the probable consequences, and going ahead and doing something anyways.
And they found that this could not, well, it's a subsection of it,
Yeah,
but what he was doing wasn't intentionally disregarding the
Correct.
life of another.
And they couldn't establish that he picked up the phone, was manipulating the phone. In fact, the forensics showed he wasn't.
Just looked at it, maybe.
Just looked down at the phone.
Interesting. Okay, so we got to go back to our do's and don'ts, because we have a few more things we have to cover with this LSD shopper.
pedal biking.
Yes. If an individual is stopped while they're riding their bike, which this applies in other situations, but does someone have to entertain that conversation with an officer?
If the officer orders you to stop, you have to stop.
How would you be ordered to stop?
Overhead lights. Hey, come here. Hey, stop. I can see the guy in his uniform chasing after him. Hey, come here. A direct order, whether it's via siren, lights, or verbal, to stop and talk to officers.
So not just like casual conversation.
No, if they're like, "Hey, nice bike, man. Where'd you get it?" You can pedal your face off and just go right by him. In fact, probably should. This guy for sure. Probably don't stop unless you're told to.
So that was kind of my next question. How does someone under pressure figure out if they're free to leave the conversation? What's your advice there?
Ask.
Yeah. Say, am I free to leave?
Are we just having a friendly chat here, officer? Can I leave? Like, listen, I'm working out right now. I'm pedaling my bike. Do I really have to stop and talk to you?
Mm-hmm. And what are some of the circumstances that would escalate a situation from you're free to leave to, oh no, I'm probably not free to leave?
Well, with our boy here, I'm assuming it could be a girl as well.
I don't know many girls that would be like, it's 3 a.m. I really want to go to the store. Let me just get on this pedal bike by myself.
We're gender neutral. This person, if an officer starts talking to him and then develops additional suspicion of possible criminal conduct, being high in public, possession of drugs, if they're acting erratic, then an officer can say, hold on, no. Like, what my initial lawful contact with you, now I'm seeing things that lead me to believe you might be high, there might be something else going on, you might be needing medical attention. Then the officer can take control of the situation, tell the person they can't leave, and expand the investigation.
And this could lead to searching your little bike basket, your bike bag, all of the above.
Certainly going to ask.
And you can say no.
Absolutely.
If they ask.
I've never seen a warrant for a pedal bike bag, but
You're gonna get one now.
I'm waiting for that case.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for that case.
It's coming.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh.
What?
Does a pedal bike fall within the automobile exception of the Fourth Amendment?
It can't, right?
Why not?
Actually, it might.
It's movable.
And it's like, it follows the same justifications.
We got a follow-up now.
That evidence can be taken away quickly, especially if you're a fast pedal biker.
I think it does. So maybe there's a bicycle exception.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a good one.
That's what we're here for. That is what we're here for.
That is.
Pedal biking with baby dog.
So what are some of your safety concerns or precautions as not lawyer Bobby, but biker Bobby, baby dog biker Bobby, for someone that wants to ride their bike at 3 a.m. or any other time where it's dark out?
1, be sober. Don't be high. Don't be drunk. 2, cover the cabeza, right? Put on a helmet. Buckle the helmet. Be safe. Okay? Wear your visibility, your high-vis vest, right?
Absolutely.
Okay? So now we're safer. Safe vest. And then you have to have lights at night.
Okay.
You have to have lights at night.
Then you're ready to bike?
You are ready to bike, and remember, if you're going to be on the road, you have to follow the rules of the road. So act like you're driving a car. Or if you're on a sidewalk, make sure that you can legally be on the sidewalk.
So something else I was thinking about is like staying in places that are well lit. You want to be thinking about, obviously, with your vest, people seeing you, not only you knowing what's around you, but
Be
them
seen.
seeing you.
And the other thing I would say is be defensive. Anytime, whether it's day or night, when you're a cyclist, when you're riding, people aren't looking for you. You don't have a big loud engine like a motorcycle. They can't hear you. You're stealth mode. You're harder to see because you're smaller. If you don't have all the extra bells and whistles, it's hard to see you. So you may have the right of way, but do you really want to challenge the truck to the right of way?
Probably
Be
not.
defensive. Take
Yeah.
your time. If you need to yell at people, swear at them after the fact, better to do that than be squished.
Maybe don't like listen to music.
Oh my God, that's a pet peeve of mine.
Interesting.
Take your freaking earbuds out.
Yeah.
You have to be able to be aware of your surroundings. If you want to wear earbuds, go to the gym, go to your Peloton, do something else. But when you're outside, you need to be aware of your surroundings. You got to be able to hear, you got to be able to see. It's that simple.
Is there anything that you need to do to prep your bike before you would go on a night ride?
Make sure the brake works. I mean,
That's probably day and night, maybe?
You always want to check and make sure everything's working. And make sure your tire pressure's there. Oil your chain. Make sure your brakes work. Make sure your bike fits. Smart things like that.
Nice. Okay, so you did get some backlash for this case we just talked about. And one of the things that I saw you had said to someone was that you think there needs to be changes in Iowa law to better protect bikers. What are some of those? As Biker Bobby and Lawyer Bobby combined.
Biker Bobby, Lawyer Bobby together. The passing rules, passing restrictions. When you pass a bike, you got. There's no reason why you can't say give 3 feet. There's other states that have those laws in place. And they should exist.
When you say 3 feet, do you mean like if you're passing someone on the left, they're on the right of you, you should at least be 3 feet away from them, like your vehicle?
Correct.
Okay.
Some people think it's funny to see how close they can get to a cyclist.
I saw that's like a misdemeanor in Iowa?
We call that reckless,
Yeah.
I think. If you identify a risk and you take the risk nonetheless, give them space. If you want to yell out, get on the sidewalk, fine, but give them space. I think that would be a primary starting point. And then it's a matter of people understanding, this isn't a legislative priority, but, bigger shoulders on the highways and people understanding why cyclists ride on the roads instead of the trails and why they don't ride on sidewalks. Because it's a simple thing as understanding. And is that extra 5 seconds that it takes for you to go all the way around somebody really going to ruin your day? I doubt it.
Just out of curiosity, do you know what the reasoning behind no bikes on the sidewalk?
Yeah, people probably getting run over by cyclists on the sidewalks. And in where you do ride on trails and sidewalks, a lot of the city ordinance require the cyclist to give way and yield to pedestrians, which makes sense. The slower, more vulnerable have to be taken care of, which is why a lot of cyclists prefer to ride on roads. It'd be like, riding on a trail. I personally think riding on a trail is more dangerous than riding on a road because people aren't seeing you when they're turning right on red. Every year somebody gets hit on the trail along Hickman Road,
Yep.
because people stop at a red light and turn right, not looking. Cyclist is like, oh, I got a green light, and goes through and gets squished. Not always, all the way, but so people, they ride on roads because it's safer, you're more visible, and it also allows them to keep that workout going.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people ask, well, why do you ride on roads? And I've always responded, imagine running on a treadmill, and every 2 minutes you have to stop and start over. That's not the workout you're looking for. A lot of people, when they're riding bikes, especially on the highways, it's a workout, it's an exercise. You want to keep that stress level up continuously, and it would be the same as running on a treadmill and stopping every 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't work.
So what are some of your driver courtesy tips for dealing with, obviously people get frustrated, you talked about that, people like to yell, get on the sidewalk. What are some courtesy tips that you have for drivers, or things that they should be watching out for to make everyone's life a little bit easier? Well,
obviously you don't want to be that person that hits somebody.
Yes.
I mean, that's something that you have to live with for the rest of your life. You don't want to be in that position. So be aware. The better the weather is, pay more attention. Slow down. The extra seconds it's going to save you to buzz around somebody isn't worth it. Be patient. And give plenty of room. That's the one thing. Slow down, move over, give room. And the same courtesy should apply to cyclists, because I've seen cyclists that they think, we're going to take up the whole damn road, screw you guys, we're allowed to be here. And all that does is facilitate that conflict. So as a cyclist, you owe a general duty to be respectful to everybody else. Move over as far as you can. Wave people through. Communicate. The big thing is communication. You see a car, you make eye contact. If you're going to go, you go. If you want to wave them through, wave them through. It's being aware of your surroundings and communicating with people in a way that everybody knows what's going to happen. That's how you stay safer.
I was also thinking about when you said being on the right of the road. Is there a law that has to do with where cyclists are supposed to be, or how do you figure out where you're actually supposed to be on the road?
So city ordinances address
Okay.
it from time to time, which they'll say you have to be as far right as you possibly can.
Which probably doesn't mean actually as far right as you possibly can.
Correct. 'Cause, you can't be on the shoulder. But state law, to apply universally across the state, there isn't anything. And it says you have the right, the cyclist has the right to use the entirety of the road. So if they want to ride down the center, they have the right to ride down the center. I don't necessarily advise it. I think you want to be smart and courteous to everybody else, but that's just what's courteous, not what's lawful.
Yeah.
And that's individual preference as well.
And safety, probably.
And safety.
So this whole episode has kind of been inspired by RAGBRAI coming up.
Yeah.
And you're not doing RAGBRAI this year?
Nope. No.
Why?
It's hot, it's long, and I don't got time for that.
Yeah. So one of the things that I wasn't necessarily aware of, which is probably just, I've never been on RAGBRAI, but for some reason I thought it was just like free pass to be drunk. But apparently people get arrested on RAGBRAI all the time.
People get arrested on RAGBRAI all the time.
So question for lawyer Bobby.
Okay.
How do you stay out of trouble during RAGBRAI if you're doing RAGBRAI this year?
It starts with don't be a jackass. I mean, it's
Always.
That's kind of a rule. Don't draw attention to yourself. It's that simple. In those situations, law enforcement is trying to get everybody home safely. And they're not out. It's not the state fair at the Bud Tent where they're looking to arrest people because they're troopers from out of county that are here and bored. On RAGBRAI, they're trying to maintain everybody's level of livelihood and life, right? So if you don't stick out, if you don't make yourself a problem, for the most part, that's why you have that thought process.
Yeah.
Anything goes on RAGBRAI. If you don't make yourself a problem, there should not and isn't usually a problem. But if you start being that belligerent butthead, they're going to haul you in. Because guess what? That keeps other people from being belligerent. That keeps the situation from escalating. So you're going to be the one that goes.
And you're probably pretty far away from home.
Probably
in a small town.
You probably can't ride your bike home after.
Yeah, probably maybe not like a desire of most people to go to Ida Grove jail. Don't know if that's a jail, but
I've seen it. You don't want to go there. Yeah. You don't want to go there.
So question for Biker Bobby. How do you stay alive during RAGBRAI?
Be smart.
Okay.
Hydrate.
But Bobby, how do you hydrate when you're drinking all day?
You have to alternate. You have to alternate. So you weren't here when we did
I was not.
the winter set to Indianola when RAGBRAI came through Central Iowa, and we train. Listen, we all have this thought that we can ride our bike for as long as we can, just like when we were a kid. The older you get, the harder it gets. You should train. If you're planning on doing especially multiple days of RAGBRAI, train. Second of all, remember it's in the end of July. It's hot as hell in Iowa in the end of July.
Probably one of the worst places to be at the end of the summer.
To be pedaling your bike in Iowa and camping, right? It's hot. It's miserable. The first time I ever did it, I thought I was gonna die because I was like, I can ride a bike. And I almost died. I swear to God, I was on a mountain bike. I about died. Never wanted to ride a bike again. Now here we are. So hydrate. Drink, water, Gatorade, electrolytes, use them. My advice, and it was to the whole group. Half of the group listened when we did it. Half of the group almost died. Party after. Get to where you want to go and then party. And make sure that you have what it takes to be able to pedal your happy butt home or where you're going after the party. Stopping at the first beer garden and having 3 beers on a 100-degree day is a recipe for heat stroke. Is a recipe for what was it, $800 ambulance ride? It's expensive.
Oh, yeah.
You don't want to have to do that. So take your time, hydrate, and be smart. And RAGBRAI is its own level of different ways to die. Every year it seems there's somebody that dies on RAGBRAI.
And we talked about the other day, like crashes, people crashing into each other.
Yep.
So know your bike etiquette.
Know your bike etiquette. That's important.
Yeah.
Don't ride 4 across, right? If you're going to talk to your friends, ride in two across and switch if you need to talk. Communicate with others. There's certain bike language, right? Car up means a car is coming towards you. Move over. Car back means there's a car coming up from behind you. Again, move over to the right. People got to remember that. Communicate with other cyclists when you're passing on the left. There's a rule in cycling. You ride right, just like a vehicle, and you pass left. Don't ride in the center when there's room on the right, okay? When you're starting your bike, when you came off the beer break, bike on. Letting people know you're coming on, you're going to be a slow-moving vehicle until you get up to speed. It's about communication, and that's how everybody gets along. Again, basic common courtesy.
What about the hand signals?
Ooh. So that's for anywhere. Cyclists should be signaling. We don't have blinkers. I have yet to see blinkers on the back of a bike except on Zwift, and that's a video game, okay? It's your left hand. Okay, they teach you this in driver's ed. It applies to a bike. It's a left hand. If you're going left, it's straight.
Okay.
If you're going right, it's like that. So like a 90-degree angle. Okay? Signaling. Use them. Let people know.
Is that it? That's all you need to know? It's that simple?
Stopping or slowing is like that. Yeah. It's not rocket science, but getting people to remember this after 82 bush lights can be difficult. Or after LSD.
Yeah. All right, we're going to finish with one last do's and don'ts with Donut.
Okay.
And the title of it is, if I'm wearing basketball shorts or no belt loop waist clip for a Rambo knife, can I legally have the knife and sheath on the handlebar of my bike? The cops always tell me to get rid of that knife on my bike, but they never actually cite me for that. I tell them, as far as I know, I can't have it concealed, and since I don't have belt loop on my shorts, I figured that having it in plain sight on my bike would be the next best thing. Can I legally have it on my bike handlebars if I don't have a belt loop or waist clip?
So we have 5 minutes, and that's not enough to go into this in detail. The simple answer is no. In Iowa, and I'm assuming a Rambo knife is a knife that has a blade greater than 5 inches.
It sounds scary.
I watched the movie.
I have no idea what it is, but it sounds scary.
It's a listen, Rambo used it. It's a big ass knife with a big ass blade. So no, you can't carry that in public in Iowa. Second of all, why in the hell would you want a freaking Rambo knife strapped to your handlebars in a location where if you crash, you're getting Ramboed?
Oh, that like gives me like the
that would
EBGBs
hurt.
almost.
So that's an easy one. We say no, don't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were looking through this the other day, and someone was like, well, why don't you just not take your bike or your knife?
Yeah.
And he's like, that's not my question. My question is, can I do this?
The answer in Iowa, no. There we go.
Awesome. Well, I think that is, do you have anything else to say to the pedal bikers?
Hey, stay safe.
Have fun on RAGBRAI.
Have fun on RAGBRAI. Hydrate. And be
And
smart.
drink.
And
And
smart.
party.
And be smart.
Party at night.
Be smart. And
Fair.
don't ride your bike high on LSD.
Never.
Ever.
Terrible idea.
Look it up.
Sidewalk, it turns into a monster. Bad.
There we go. We've solved world problems today.
Yes, we have.
Cheers.
All right. We will be back with Emily.
Oh, yeah. We got a special segment for that. We'll be back.
One of the hardest things about being an attorney is a lot of times people think that they're dirtbags. Is that like the common consensus? I mean, I would look at that as in like there's dirtbags everywhere you go.
There are.
right? So
There
you're
are.
going to find the bad apple in every bunch.
And it's the same percentage. The same percentage of lawyers are bad guys as our financial advisors, as our accountants, as our doctors who we have to hold to account and hold to task on a regular basis. I don't think it varies across professions to a great extent. There's good guys and bad guys that do all of this, and doing it the right way is important.
I also think there's a little bit of a we hate you till we need you kind of persona out there, you know, which when we get the calls from people, they need us. And generally it's good people finding themselves in a bad situation, and we do what we can.
All right, welcome back to GRL Raw, and we have a special guest today here with me, Emily. Say hello to your fans.
Hi, everybody.
Today we are having Emily come on because she has come up with 5 of GRL's favorite biking bars in Iowa, and we're going to give you a list of our favorite bars and a little bit about them, and in hopes you check them out. And I might even convince the partners to let us check them out soon. We'll hope.
Let's hope. Well, I would say, I mean, one of the things that we like to do at GRL is to go around to some of the more local bars
Yep.
to help them out. So I feel like we put together this list not only because it deals with places you can go on your bike, but also because we like to support the local community. So
Yep.
So that's part of it too. So I will say to start it off at number 5 would be what we call home base for GRL. It is the Boonville Bar.
The Boonville Bar.
And that is one, if you know the guys here at this office, they like to go there for their meetings. They call it all of their brain work happens at Boonville Bar.
Absolutely all of it. None of it here, all at Boonville.
Right, all of Boonville. but also I feel like it is a great bar for biking. It is one that I guess people who are very into like gravel biking, bike from either to Boonville to Cumming Tap and back or vice versa. And so it's a great bar for people who like to do that sort of thing on bikes. I will also say for me, that's one of the very first bars in this area that I went to on a bike, because when I did RAGBRAI for the first time, it actually came to Des Moines, and that was like an unofficial stop along the route.
Okay.
And so as we're riding down the street, then all of a sudden Boonville was over on this side, and it's like, well, that looks like a party. That place looks great. So we stopped there. But yeah, I mean, not only like biking, but I mean, also they have awesome breakfast, Waveland food, that type of thing. So I feel like coming in at number 5, but it's like a strong.
That's a strong 5.
It's a strong 5 for sure.
Okay, what do we got for number 4?
Number 4, it's called Just One More, and it's in Jamaica, Iowa.
Okay.
So some people might not know that there's actually a Jamaica, Iowa.
I didn't know that until we talked about this, but I'm here for it.
I mean, they've got a big sign there and everything that's all about, Jamaica. But one of the biggest things is that they are right off of, I think it's the Raccoon River Trail.
Okay.
And so if some people are very into biking, which our own Bobby Rehkemper, very
Baby dog. We told them about Baby dog.
Oh, okay, so they know.
It's biking with Baby dog.
Absolutely. So Baby Dog will give you all you need to know about biking. And so he informed me. He said he's not real good at math.
Or miles.
Right.
Not sure what that means.
But that it's about 89 miles if you're going to do the full like Raccoon River Trail. And so he said that this is the good halfway point on the Raccoon River Trail.
Just a quick 89 miles. It's a good halfway break. Have a beer.
That's probably what Bobby does before breakfast. So I mean, as does anybody called Baby Dog. But yeah, so he says that that's a good halfway point, and also looks like, I mean, they have some good food. It looks like they have a good patio area. So
nice.
Yeah, good.
We're gonna have
there.
to check that one out.
Absolutely, and say we've been to Jamaica.
Yeah, I mean, all of us went to Jamaica.
Right,
Thank you, GRL.
Together. Yeah, I think that's great.
And what do we have for number 3?
Number 3 on our list is the Brickyard in Adel. Also a place with great food.
Okay.
I have actually not been to this bar. It's a bar that was just been told to me, but I also got, I have in quotes, Bobby approved.
Okay. So that's important. That's all you need to know.
Baby Dog approved. I guess that's what that means. But a good selection of beers. I looked at, I guess on their website, they have like a super cute kind of like chalkboard type of menu. He said good beers on tap, nice patio, and again, it is somewhere that is just kind of like right along the trail there. So if you're biking, could be a good stop along the way. So that is one that I hope to be able to check out soon.
Yes.
And we talked about even maybe being able to do it soon.
Hopefully.
So,
Hopefully.
I hope.
So number 1 and number 2 are like some of our favorite bars.
Yes.
Like I'm not like a pedal biker, but I'm here for it. So
Sid might get into it just to
I'm
see.
just gonna pedal bike here just for fun. It might take me 3 days, but
I would say this. So the number 2 bar is actually my favorite.
Yes.
My favorite. So number 2 on my list is Charlie's Filling Station. Actually, I kind of laugh when I put that on the list because some people would more think of it as like a motorcycle type bar, and it is. There's a lot of motorcycles, but it is right there off of like the trail over by kind of like Pal Joey's and Sully's and all that type of thing. So you just kind of have to like kitty corner across the way. My favorite reason for Charlie, number 1, I love their outdoor area is great, but I also love their fresh squeezed orange juice and grapefruit juice. So if you're into like the fresh squeezed drinks like that, it is awesome. And it's just always, you never know who you're going to meet at the filling station.
I went one time and it was like bring your own food everywhere, and the whole place was filled with food, and didn't think I was eating on a Sunday afternoon.
You like went to a potluck and you didn't know it?
Didn't know it, didn't bring anything, but everyone wanted me to eat their food. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. The only thing about you have to remember is cash only. So if you're going to go to the filling station, they do have an ATM, but sometimes you have to keep in mind cash only. But I love that bar, and they always have good popcorn too. So
yeah, that's important.
Yes.
You love a good popcorn.
Yes.
Okay, and number 1.
Hey, number 1. So we made it number 1 because Sydney says that she's going to make this her number 1.
Yeah.
And it's the Nighthawk in Slater.
I love the Nighthawk, and I really don't know why, but their patio is amazing, and I've spent a lot of time actually out in Slater for no other reason than the Nighthawk. And didn't even know it was a biker bar until one day I showed up and there's like 500 bikers everywhere.
Everybody was wearing spandex, and you were like, why am
I didn't get the memo. Okay.
Why am I not wearing spandex at this bar?
But they have live music, good drinks, great patio. It's really not that far out of Des Moines.
No, it's not, because for a lot of people, like if you're doing the High Trestle Trail, which is like a big, people start in Ankeny and then head out to like the bridge and stuff, and that is one of kind of the first stops along that trail. So I feel like that's when I've been there before, is when you're biking to that one. So everybody's always like, everybody's ready to party when they get there.
I know,
so
it's a great, and the patio, it's just unmatched.
Yeah.
I never thought Slater, Iowa would be the place where I find my bar that I just connect with emotionally, but it was.
That's where you'll find Sid.
All right, well, thank you for the top 5
Yes.
GRL biking bars. And hopefully by the next episode, we will all have gone to all of them and can give everyone an update.
Right.
About our favorite thing on one day.
Yeah.
I think we should make this happen.
Absolutely.
And we'll give an update. And thanks for watching GRL Raw.
We can't change the past, but we will change your future. GRL Law. Thanks for tuning in to GRL Raw. Check us out at grllaw.com.